Well, folks, here we again for the weekly forecast. And of course, during this last week, the big news was the significant rain event that hit much of the central sandhills, southern sandhills, over into east central Nebraska. We've had unofficial reports of up to 12 inches of rainfall over this event, but officially the NE Rain Network shows that we had several locations where we were in the 6 to 7 inch range, particularly around the Broken Bow area, David City area. We still have had some flooding issues that have been ongoing from the runoff, but overall we should expect with this precipitation event a pretty significant reduction in next week's drought monitor depiction, particularly in those areas hit with 4+ inches of moisture. Unfortunately, as you got up along the Nebraska-South Dakota border, precipitation totals dropped off a little bit. So my expectations are that we may see some improvements there, but not significant improvements. Further southward, unfortunately, the system kind of broke apart as it headed into southeast Nebraska, and precipitation totals dropped off dramatically as the system petered out, only to reform that front farther to the south of us. So overall, we did see one of our better precipitation events in a long time across central Nebraska. We need to see more of these precipitation events. But as we go through this next 7 days, of course, the big news is with the eclipse on Monday, what is the forecast going to be? But before we get to that main forecast, what we will tell you according to the GFS model is that there is a possibility across eastern Nebraska, particularly eastern 1/3 of the state, for some of the precipitation activity to hold on a little bit during the morning hours, possibly impeding our visual experience with the eclipse. But as you go farther west, it looks like conditions may be a little bit better. So as we go to the upper air models, what we will see is we have a general northwest to southeast flow in the upper atmosphere, trough over the Great Lakes region, ridging to our south. So we got high pressure extending across the southern United States, low pressure to our northwest. Those will begin gradually trying to move our way, but we're not expecting any precipitation in the southern plains. Anything that shows up is going to be to the east of us. Then we see another trough trying to make its way across the northern plains. That's going to see a surface low start to induce itself in western Kansas, bringing up some Gulf moisture into the central plains, generating the possibility of thunderstorm activity across eastern Nebraska, particularly during the afternoon hours. And then as we get into Monday, that trough starts to move toward the Great Lakes, and we get kind of a zonal flow, but we do have this pesky little low that's going to move into the northeast. This is the one that we're worried about holding up the precipitation in eastern Nebraska. Most of this convection shown here is during the morning hours and will be lifting to the northeast. So hopefully this will clear out in time. And then on Tuesday, we start to see the ridge starting to build back in. Warmer temperatures start to move into our region as we have high pressure dominating much of the central United States. And of course, with that high pressure, most of the precipitation should beat our east. I think we're overplaying the precipitation shown for northeastern Nebraska. On Wednesday, that high pressure system starts to build in at the upper levels of the atmosphere into the central plains. High pressure to our east and to our southwest with a low pressure over the Intermountain region. Therefore, temperatures will increase and the monsoon flow will start to push up some moisture into western Nebraska, maybe an isolated thunderstorm possible. Then we see a little kink in the ridge as some energy tries to move around it, and a surface low generating itself once again down to our south that will start to lift moisture up into our region once again, and that will have the ability to possibly generate thunderstorm activity, particularly over the eastern half of the state, and that's likely to hold on as that wave starts to move to the east and peters out. Some of that residual moisture with that surface low will still be around, particularly across the eastern part of the state as that low is in eastern Kansas, and that moisture will generate what we believe will be a complex of thunderstorms developing over Iowa and eastern Nebraska. Now as we go to the 8 to 14 day forecast, cooler conditions are projected once again to materialize over the eastern United States with warm air to our west with that ridge building in. And in terms of precipitation, most of the central plains south to Texas and eastward to the Atlantic Ocean will see above normal moisture.